Buffalo has a program called Build a Bike, and you can get up to 5 bikes at a time in a box, and they're totally unassembled. And then an adult or two picks 5 kids, and it depends on the program and how you want to run it, who gets picked, because you can only get 5 at a time.
Yeah.
But then you spend evenings talking with these kids, building the bikes together, and you're building relationships and you're building mentors that, if this kid has a problem down the road and mom and dad aren't around or available in his life, who's he going to go to?
Right.
Well, I remember I built that bike with so-and-so, and he was always there for me. I'm going to call him and ask him what the heck I should do now. And I thought we have a lot of retired... You've always heard all your life fishermen say there's nothing more peaceful than being out there fishing.
Yeah.
Well, these kids need some peace. Let's teach them how to fish. We have a dock out there.
Right.
They can sit on for free. Let's get some old fishing poles donated, and let's get some kind of fishing program going. I don't even believe kids need a license, so you just need a couple adults, seniors who don't have to go to work that like to sit and fish and talk to people.
Yeah.
You always hear they want to tell their stories. Well, here you'd have a captive audience. Teach them how to fish and tell them your stories and build those relationships that just don't exist anymore. So that's just a few of my little ideas that I'd like to, and I don't know where to take them or who to talk to, but I'm open if anybody has ideas of where I should go with these ideas.
Yeah. And it's funny that you were talking about the fisherman, because me and Luchetta, we was actually at the docks taking pictures, and we ran into one.
Mm-hmm.
A retired gentleman.
Yep.
He had probably like the most awesome attitude that I heard that day.
There you go.
He posed for, let us take pictures of him, pictures of the fish he caught. We just sat and talked to him about 10, 15 minutes, laughed and joked with him.
Awesome.
And so many people would get a lot from that.
Yes.
Especially a lot of these youth, because they feel like they have no one to turn to.
I really feel that, and some people will say, well, you live up here, you don't know what's going on, you don't have any right to speak. All I can say is there seems to be on that news a lot of troubled kids, and it's not going to go away. It's not. So we have to start with the young ones and try to build youth that come up and say, no, that kind of life, that's not for me. I'd rather go fishing.
Yeah.
I'd rather go fishing. I'll see you guys later. So.
And that I absolutely do understand, because I didn't grow up in the good parts of town, so I grew up in the bad parts of town. But at the same time, I was always told that I would never be a product of my environment, because my environment starts within me.
Absolutely.
So I remember being young, being out there fishing, always being with a coach, always being with my art teacher. So you don't think about the little things like that until you're grown.
Yep.
And then you look around and you see who's around you and who's not.
Yeah.
So a lot of that stuff is very important and vital to the overall development, because nobody would have thought that you'd be the man that you are today or the woman that you are today.
Right.
Just by sitting down and talking with you 15 minutes every other day.
Yep. And I actually grew up fairly poor. My mother had polio, and my father did not want to take care of her. So he left her with polio and the 2 kids and left.
Wow.
And back then there wasn't, food stamps and all that, those programs that exist today. And the doctors told my mother she could never work, but she's like, well, what do? Go sit on the street till we get run over, So my mother found she sold light bulbs on the phone, and then she tried being a crossing guard. But get this, the one-armed crossing guard, they put her on 21st and State Street. Probably the biggest intersection that kids have to cross in the city, and that's where they put her. She did that one year, and she felt that she could not safely capture kids. And so she walked into what was the Boston store back then, and she went up to wherever they hire you at, and she said, I'm really good with numbers. Can't you find something I can do? So they put her in the collection department, And she found her niche there, because when people would tell her their sad stories about why they couldn't pay their bills, she'd say, yeah, I understand, I'm disabled, I was told I was never be able to work, but I'm at work today, so how can we, get $10 next month coming in to start paying off this bill? And she went from the Boston Store collection department, walked across the street after a few years, and became the head of collections over at First National Bank. Same theory, when people are telling you, I can't, and then you tell them, well, that's what they told me, but I did it. So next month, let's see how you can get $15 or $20 in on this bill. And she brought in a lot of collections that they used to write off.
Yeah.
One of the things I can tell you about growing up really poor, and we lived on West 10th and West 11th, and every single Saturday, unless it was a blizzard or pouring down rain, we walked to the Erie Library. And my mother said that is how you get out of being poor. You learn. So every week we got books, and we learned, and we read about this subject and that subject. Every birthday it was books on I love dogs. I know so many dog breeds because my mother always bought me dog breed books, and horses, so I knew all the breeds of horses. And there was just no excuse for not getting an education in my mother's mind. If you have to do it free at the library, read every book, then that's how you would do it.
I absolutely do agree with that. Because I started taking my two daughters to the library. And then when evaluations come from their teachers, they tell me how smart they is, how they gotta give them extra work. And my oldest daughter, she really amazes me. Because she could be in school and the teacher would send home notes saying that, well, Shania doesn't go outside for recess. She stays in the classroom studying with the work that we did last year or the week before. And, she was like, well, did you know that your daughter wanted to be a pediatrician? I'm like, yeah, she's been telling me that since she's like 4. So, yeah, actually, reading and spending a lot of time, educating yourself will push you to want more, to want to do better.
Right. And you can go to the library and find books on babies and pediatricians and so on. Start with her skill level, and as she gets older, keep finding those books. And she will go into college way ahead of the average person who decides to go do that. So that's awesome.
Yeah. And is there any other projects that you got in store?
Let's see. Well, actually, in July, Marisa Mopes Unger and I are both traveling to Detroit to a poetry thing up there. And it's called the Collective Soul, I believe. And we were both invited to go up there and read some poetry. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty much a homebody, and I don't like to travel a lot. And just got back last week from Florida, going and visiting my son that lives down there. And it's amazing at my age. It's like I just need a couple days of laying in the bed after I've gotten off that plane and all those transfers. Jogging through O'Hare International Airport is like just to get from one gate to the other of the same type of plane. You have to go, it's like, isn't there like a chute? I used to see this on Star Trek. Can't you just like beam me over? Do I really have to jog?
Yeah. Okay. How was it with the documentary that we had on PBS, The Trouble with Poets?
Yeah, I did get to see that. It was very awesome. I'm kind of sad I wasn't in it, and maybe in the future. And I did talk to Tom Weber, who is the person who created that project, and he said he will come out and videotape WOW for us next year. So I'm really excited about that, because he is top notch and knows what he's doing. We have a videotape of every year of WOW, but it's taken on just a inexpensive home camera, and it's never been high quality in the audio. It's hard to hear. Yeah. It's like the video is pretty good, but when the poets are, you have to lean up to the computer and try to hear it. So I will really be excited to get that done.
Yeah, because I seen the work that he did, and like I was just kind of blown away by it.
Yes. The editing and the way he kept the conversation going and the subjects from one poet to another,
Yeah.
he really weaved that together well. And I guess because of weaving is what I do now.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes you on a journey.
And I'm kind of excited about the next wall event also because I will be bringing my daughters and whoever else I can drag with
Yes,
me.
yes. And I think, although there are sometimes, some years, there may be one bad word here or there, I allow it because it's like a punctuation in a particular poem. I don't bring anybody up there who's just going to do smut because that's not what we're about.
Yeah.
Mainly, we're just talking about real life. And so, my point of saying that is that I don't feel it is a problem for younger people to see it. And I think it would be really helpful for especially teenage girls to see WOW and experience those feelings. Part of my domestic violence program for prevention is warning signs and explaining no abuser, male, female, black, white, red, orange, no abuser comes up and says, hey, really good to meet you, I'm going to punch the crap out of you, you know. They try their best to be warm and funny and interested and so on until they get you to a certain point. And the women or men who are easier to become victims, I guess, are empathetic, caring people who were taught to forgive and forget because you keep forgiving these little things and they just keep building it up on you. So that's part of what I try to do with the prevention is to make people aware you can forgive and forget, but you don't have to keep stepping in front of the punch. So when you realize that, you know, I give them like maybe 10 things, controlling behaviors, telling you what to wear, not to wear cologne, driving really fast, and when you say you're scared, they drive faster, telling you if you love me, you won't be on the yearbook committee, or you won't play football, or whatever. And there's all these controlling behaviors, and when you say to yourself, wow, I got like 6 in play now, and he makes me cry all the time, then learn that before you're married to him, or you're living together, or you have children together. Try to wait and learn about someone before you get in those situations so that you can extricate yourself. An abuser is not going to just say, bye, see ya. An abuser is going to try to keep you. But if you're aware of the fact that they're an abuser and you get yourself the proper official help with police and counselors and so on, contacting a safety shelter in your area for women, they can give you a list of how to get out safely. There's even a 1-800 number, and again, I didn't come prepared for that for today, and I don't have it memorized, but in the future I can get that information to you so you could maybe add that on the bottom or something.
Oh yeah. Okay.